name is Adeline.
My name is Bane.
And you're listening to
the Salty Girls Podcast. This is just a space where we talk about our personal journey.
We'll be unpacking a whole lot of trauma,
sharing about our mental health,
our physical health,
some life lessons that we've learned.
And we'll invite a couple of people along the way to share their life lessons too.
So basically, we're just going to be real, we're going to be vulnerable.
But the essence of all of this and the reason behind it is God's calling over our lives.
So we hope you enjoy, we hope you were encouraged.
We hope you take something out of this. We hope this brings healing. Hi! Welcome to episode 4 of the Salty Girls Podcast.
And this episode, we're going to talk about all things self-care. What is self-care?
Yeah, that was my first question. No, so self-care is just taking care of yourself, I think. It's like a current, maybe it's like an investment where you take care of yourself now because of the future benefits.
For your future self.
Yeah, it's not just a now thing. It's like not selfish. It's actual investing in yourself for the future. How about you? Like, what's self-care to you?
When I think of self-care, I just think of filling your cup, like nourishing your body.
Yep.
So, because I'm like, if I'm not doing self-care, I just look like a fig tree that's mine. And when I do self-care, it's like I'm watering her, like taking care of her. Like the garden one, we talked about like tending to the garden. Yeah.
True.
It's like cutting, watering, like doing things to make her be healthy, flourish.
Yeah.
So that's what I think of when I think of self-care.
It's like maintaining it and then taking out the things that are no longer. Yeah. It's like,
because it's not all like lovey, like it's not all sunshine when you do self-care. Like if you really do self-care,
it's about cutting some things off, and it's not always easy. That's right.
Correct.
How do you practice self-care?
I think it depends on what I go through or what I need at that time.
Yeah.
Like say like full on with work and stuff, full on schedule, then my self-care would be to rest, remind myself to rest, and eat, rest. I think just stepping out of what I'm doing there, like maybe go, if I'm working, go training. Just making sure that my body is being well fed, resting, and like training to be strong, I think. And if I'm like neglecting my body, then like self-care would be, if I'm being lazy and stuff, then my self-care would be get into a habit, get into a routine, like doing your work and stuff. Like slapping myself in the head, like get out of being in your laziness, because that's not taking care of yourself. Like what you said, like investing. Like if you're just, because like some days I just want to sleep, I'm just lazy, I don't want to do anything. But the self-care would be like you need to be consistent. You need to do this. What about you?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I mean, like just thinking about it like that, like because like when we fall into laziness and stuff like that, like if you think about it, you're getting like instant gratification right there in that moment, and it's like temporary fulfillment. But then, like let's say you have, like in school you have an assignment due on Friday, and you're like, come Wednesday you still haven't done anything, Thursday still nothing, and you're like so lazy. You're like, oh yeah, that's fine, Thursday night I can do it. And then if you think about it, that's not self-care, because you're like putting things off for your like temporary laziness to be like excused. But then at the same time, come Thursday night, you're like, all tired, you're all regretting and stuff like that. So I think thinking about your future self again, like and how, like what are you doing now that are you making things easier for you later on, or stuff like that, just like taking care of yourself. And I think, what was the question? How do you practice it? yeah, like different ways. Like it depends. Like physically, it's different. Physically, I think just getting my wrist. I think I have been, like, when I am working, then it's like long hours ish, or it takes for me, and then like, because I think recently I don't go out as much. But I used to not be able to like not leave the house. I'm an introvert, but then I really just liked like leaving home. But I think now that I'm working more, and it's taking out more from me, I go out less. And it's because I know that I need rest, kind of, and I'm like trying to cling to like little times that I can stay in. So that's one. Another one would be like if it's mentally, like journaling. I think mental and emotional are same when I journal. It's just like releasing thoughts in my head or whatever it is, and just lessons learned that day. What else? I find like conversations with people, like meaningful conversations, like they help me a lot. It's like it is filling my cup as well, because like I don't know if it's nourishing to my mind, or it's stimulating my mind or something, that it's actually helping me. So like when I get into like, if I'm talking to someone, and then like we go full on like just talking about life and stuff like that, and for me that's fulfilling, and then I leave there feeling like my cup is full. And in return, and just like also if it's like helping someone out, like someone needs to be heard in that time that they're going through something, like it's maybe helping someone else, but also it's self-care for me too, because it's like I think it's just in your nature to want to give, or I don't know, somehow you feel fulfilled, and when you leave feeling fulfilled, that's like self-care for me, mentally and emotionally. What else?
How does journaling help with? How is that a form of self-care? Because you're just writing.
I think I started journaling in high school, and it was because I didn't like talking to people about the things that I was going through. Like a lot of things were personal. Like even though I had friends, I had things going on at home that I didn't want to like expose everyone else to. And there are like things that I was going through internally, or just, I mean, in high school, I just didn't feel comfortable talking to people about my personal stuff. And so journaling was my form of letting that out. Because I find now that I have like closer friends that, the relationships are more meaningful. You can express yourself and you can talk about your personal stuff. But then, and when I do that in conversations, like I feel like I am like letting things out, so it's not in me, and then it helps like free you of it, or someone makes sense of it, or something like that. But then journaling was like, instead of people, it was paper and pen. And just letting it out, and then like reading what I've written, it's kind of making sense of my thoughts. So that for me is therapeutic in itself.
I remember growing up, and even when I was in high school, I would never it's like I would try to journal because I like seeing people who would journal, but I could not journal to save my life.
Why?
I don't know. I think because I didn't know how. I thought it would just be what I got up to during the day. I think I wasn't able to make sense of what was going on in my head. But now when I journal, it's not so much what I do, but like my thoughts that I put it down, like things that I've learned, things that I've noticed. I write that down. But back then it was like so I just write. I wake up, I go here, I go there. Like it's so boring.
It used to be like that because I started diary, I think it's different, diary entries. I did that in class 3,
Really?
and consistently. I wrote it, and you'd find little diaries of mine that I have, and then it was I think when I had too many emotions. I had too many feelings that I needed to let out,
so you just
but I didn't have anyone to talk to, so then it was journaling. How do you take care of yourself spiritually?
Time with God.
Yeah.
Spending quiet time with God. Because I find in like reading my Bible plans, but then sometimes I do it just not out of habit. Like I do it as like a checklist.
Tick it off, yeah.
Just to tick it off, which is not good. I mean, I still learn, but it's like sometimes like I'm not really into it. I just read it just to get the thing. But I think when I'm intentionally like blocking everything out and just this is God's time, like just playing like worship music, actually reading the Bible to read, and just being like still and quiet.
Yeah.
And then like, and I think I remember when I would only do it when I have time, but now I'm like really trying to like set my alarm. Yeah. Like I'm not doing anything here. This is my time with God. I'm not gonna what's the word?
Compromise.
Yeah, compromise my time with God. Like, and if I say I'm gonna spend this time with Him, like,
yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I think same too, and I think we talked about stuff like, when we start our day right, then the rest of the day it sets the tone for the rest of the day, and I think that like spiritually, yeah, if I don't do that in the morning, if I don't have my time with God, if I don't slow down and just like, I think sometimes I get up and I'm just too lazy, but then again we talked about the laziness, putting that aside because it's worth it, because like once you, I mean, what, like just pray and read a little, even a little, like it does make a really big difference in my day.
I think helping others is also, I think, because when I write like my goals for the month, and that like I write like to be encouraging, like send someone a quick message to check up on them, and like some little extra services, because then again I can just do it just to tick the things off my list, but it actually is like fulfilling to like encourage someone. And I think it's just I think lately we've been like telling people to like speak up, like get in touch if you need anything, but I think what we should be doing is actually reach out, because then if we don't constantly talk to them, like what would they think of us when they need help? Because you're not really there and they will feel bad. But if you always constantly reach out to them,
definitely. Spiritual, I think being in nature too for me, and I think it's because like it makes me, I don't know, it just relates for me. Nature is just so connected to God, like even places that I've been to outside of Tonga, and like just like things that just seeing nature and how diverse and how different and how big and how crazy it is just like, man, God did that. Like wow, like when I was in Japan, like it's like not mountainous, but they have like really I think it is kind of mountainous, but like greenery everywhere, and it's like just so big and so vast and so luscious everything is, and then it's just like, man, God's amazing, like he did that. And then when you come here, it's like, you know, the beaches and stuff like that, and it's like, wow, he did that. And then like where I think it was Israel or somewhere, like it's a different kind of beauty. It's like just rock and it looks like desert, but at the same time it's so big and it's so like marvelous that like, man, the same God did that. And then you're just so for me, when I just take time out from like the busyness of work, or just even hear noise like that, like it's not noisy here, but like just taking time out to go and sit at the beach, or even like the farm that I go to, like just being surrounded by nature makes me I think go back to how big God is. And if I'm having a bad day, if I have problems and whatnot, going there just makes me realize how small my problems are and how big he is. And I think that makes me, that's like spiritual self-care for me, like, because it puts my little problems into perspective, and it reminds me of how big the God I serve is. So, yeah.
Speaking of spiritual, you know how self-care can be toxic. What's the biblical side of self-care?
Self-care.
How do we stay away from like
being selfish? I think if you realize, it depends, like if you know the reason that God's called you here for, which is to serve all of us as Christians. It's not to be served.
Yeah.
Like, because Christianity is, as Christians we're supposed to be like Christ, and Christ didn't come to be served; he came to serve.
Yeah.
And so he's like no longer here physically, but he has called us to do his work still. And I think that self-care is important, because if you are like sick, let's say, and being sick like comes from kind of neglecting your health sometimes, then you won't be of service to the kingdom, or you won't be useful, you'll be useless. And so I think self-care biblically, maybe, or Christian, in the Christian sense, would be like to take care of yourself so you can take care of others.
Yeah.
How do you think it is?
Yeah, I think because we're meant to be in a community, and if your self-care is turning into just like a selfish and not helping the community, then that's not useful. That's more selfish, not community.
So do you think that if you do things that are just for yourself, is that
like I see it as, if it's for myself but it's gonna benefit others, then it's alright. Like, say, even though at work there's something to do but I really can't. Like, it's better for me to just step away.
Yeah.
Like, before I like snap.
Yeah.
Like, it might seem selfish, but it's
but really it's helping the other
Yeah.
person.
I was like, I'm doing this. I'm happy.
I'm doing this for you. Nah, yeah, I get what you mean. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. I was in the like a group session thing on Zoom, and it was about, I forgot what it was about. It was like mental health and Christianity or something like that, and it was talking about how it came up to a part where this girl was talking about self-care, and she was like, she said that she does things so that, like, she'll do this so that, and then what the facilitator was saying, that's really interesting, because she didn't say it, like, it just came out naturally, but she picked it up, this facilitator picked up her so that, and she was like saying, as Christians, the we is that the reason for our taking care of ourselves, so that, like, it's always to serve. And then she was like saying, like, no, and then I think it just made me think that, yes, that's really good, but also, like, because we are sons and daughters of God, what if you don't have community and you have no one to love you? And then, like, still God would, I feel like, because God is love, he would want you to show kindness to yourself as well.
Yeah.
So then it's not always, yes, it's so that you can help others, but also so that you can feel loved too, because God loves you.
Yeah.
And so it's not selfish.
And I think you don't always need, it's for community, but, or maybe it's like, this is contradicting what we just talked about, but like, you don't need a reason to be kind to yourself. And take care of yourself, because then again, like, I think in the end, when you take care of yourself more, you're in a better position to
take care of
others.
Yeah.
As Tongans, and we are so community thing, like with our family and stuff. It's like, it's so loud noise. You're like, no one's I'm practicing self-care.
I think it's the way you say it though.
How do you navigate like being a Tongan and trying to communicate that please let me please do my self-care?
Depends on the situation, eh? Man, I don't know. Like, have you found yourself in that situation where you need time to yourself but you can't communicate it? Do you mean like?
I think for me, because how I am at home, I'm usually always just be by myself. Like I always stay in my room. But I think in my situation, what happens is it's not the I need me time. It's the boundaries. I think them demanding things, but it's like I can't give it to you. Like in terms of money and like all these like gavengas and stuff.
Yeah. And
like because that's not a form of, I feel that it's not a form of self-care to just give.
Yeah.
Like it's like some other perspective, it's better to give just to please them, but it's like taking away from you, and you need a just like setting boundaries and stuff. Yeah. It's scary. I think now I'm still trying to like battle with that, like trying to set boundaries. And then sometimes I tell myself, you can't give it. You just need to tell them, like communicate that you can't give it. But it's always easier. I'm like, man, it would be just to please them. So that they won't like get angry at you or be disappointed in you. But then I think in the long run, they would keep doing that. There won't be any sense of boundaries. They'll think you're alright with it, and they'll just keep doing that. But if you just kind of like communicate, look, I can do this, but there is just like the communication part.
So like financially, I think, man, because I guess in my family it's not so much like that. For me, like I don't think there's expectations like that. Like it would just be making yourself available to do stuff. Like, yeah. Time. It's still time. That's the one. That's like, instead of money, it's the time, and it's always demanding the time. Yeah. And that's, so I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's like, like, I mean, we all have our own like family battle, things like that, like what they're demanding and stuff. But how can we, so your question was like, how can you navigate it? It is the setting boundaries, eh?
And communication.
And I also like think, when I was writing notes, I was just gonna ask you, like, financially, like, cause right now I'm taking a break from work for like 2 months, which means that I won't have any like source of income right now unless I start a side hustle or something like that. So I was thinking about, when it comes to times like that, like what I said before was, when you think now of your future self, when things come like this, like all of a sudden you lose your job or something like that, like self-care would be you putting aside some money, probably, for when the time like this comes, like, or if COVID happens again or something else, another pandemic, and you still have like means to sustain yourself, in a sense, because that's like thinking about your future self. Like, what am I trying to say? It's just like, how do you take care of yourself financially like that? Is that part of your self-care, or?
It should be.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it on my way here this morning. I think for me, and this is like realistic, I wish that my financial self-care was investing, like saving.
Yeah.
But I think my financial self-care is like doing tithing, even though I like so slack with it. But when I do put it away, that's like safety for me, like giving that away. And I think with friends and stuff, like shouting them and stuff, that's investing financially for me, because I don't know, just giving is which is bad because you can go overspend. But yeah, like to me, I don't mind just giving to like financially, because you just give.
You just give.
It fills my cup to give money away, like to I don't know, to show love.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like, because like what we're talking about like with family demands and stuff like that, and then yours is financially, mine is time, and I think it's just about maybe managing the time properly. For me, like managing my time properly, because I think I get annoyed when I feel like it's way too much time that's being asked of me. But then I think that if I know that that's my situation, for me to like really allocate time, like when we're planning and stuff like that, like really, I know it's setting boundaries, but then setting those boundaries, you're still not neglecting your family responsibilities, because being a part of your family, like there's certain expectations, and some of them can get beyond realistic, but still not, because not coming from a place of, you want to come from a place of love. And even though, like, let's say you, for example, having something to give, but it won't be how much they're asking for, but still having that thing where, I care enough for you that I'm giving you this, but what you're asking for is like, I just can't do that. So like giving, but not giving to, like, instead of not giving at all, because like I feel from my end is like time, like give your time, but then be respective of your time too. And I think it's just like that, like not
like you give, but like you don't feel depleted after you give.
Yeah.
It's like,
because I've noticed from my end, like giving the time thing, like I'll give and give and give until like I'm sucked out dry, and it's like still like, because I don't want to get them angry. But then I think, because I think I've lacked, because I think that if I don't do that, then I don't love them. But then putting the boundaries on the time, like being like, oh yeah, I'm free for like this few hours, and while I'm with you, I will do all that I can to, and trying to get things done within that time, because I know when I go over that, then it's like it's too much. So I think for me, in that sense, the self-care would be looking at my time, and if I have time to give, when I can, like hurry up and go and do that, instead of like using that little time that I have free to do something else, like scrolling on social media or something like that, and give to them, because I know that that's why my mom gets mad at me a lot. Is because I'm not intentional with the time that I'm given, or when I could be. But I think that's caring for myself, because I don't want to get yelled at later on.
She is not selfish when she says she's gonna set boundaries with time. This girl, it says she'll do it, but she doesn't do it, and that's where her mom is coming from.
She gets annoyed.
Me, I'm really trying to, I think that's part of my self-care,
is to really invest in my relationship with family, because it's not great. And they're always complaining that like I'm a different person outside, and then I'm a different person at home, which is like red flag. But I think because at home that's like my recharge, and so I don't need to do anything. There was this meme. It was like when you're at other places, you're like washing dishes, and when you're at home, you're sleeping.
That's funny in a meme. That is funny.
That's me. But I think that's what that should be my goal for this month, as a form of self-care. But in terms of family, because you need to be taking care of your community.
But it starts at home. Boy, I was listening to this podcast, and there was this guy who was talking about pastors or preachers or whatever. They're talking about like relationships and men and women and husband and wife. And there was this one where he was like talking about like there's so many preachers that come from the pulpit and like will preach at you about how you should how you should treat your wife, and they're like, and then he was saying something like it's very hypocritical, because like the same person is loving the church, but not loving the church, who is the bride of God, God's bride, but not loving your own bride.
Yeah.
So it's like they will be at home physically abusive, whatnot, and then when they go out to church, they're preaching something else at the pulpit.
Yeah.
And it's just like the first assignment that God has given you is your family, and that's where you should be pouring into and loving. I mean, in a marriage sense, like for that guy to be like, the first bride is his bride, his wife, and then there's God's bride, the church, and he's like loving that bride more than his own bride. So yeah, I think it's just like looking at who has God put in your life, like what's your priority and what you should be pouring into, and once that priority is good, then you pour into everyone else, so that we're not.
I was having this conversation with this girl, and I was like telling her, I think because we're the same. Like out there, we're very like outgoing and extroverted, but like in closed doors with like close friends, we're just like we're not like that. We're not. And then it's like, is it being fake? But it's like, I think no, we were like, no, inside with like loved ones and stuff, that's our real self.
Yeah.
And we need that. We don't, and because they, you know, like they might complain and be like, man, you're a different person out there and you're different. But I was like, this is the real me.
Yeah.
With like the resting face and all. Like, I need this time. Like, that's not like, because if I pretend to be outgoing and stuff around you, then that's not the real me.
So in
But
a
I
sense,
need
they're helping you recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your community,
So I
like
think-
your family at home, your home time.
So I guess self-care is not pretending.
Yeah,
Because it can be draining.
definitely. One thing that I like that you have taught me in terms of self-care, or inspired me, is like taking care of my hair. Because I feel like, I don't know if like girls with, I just find that girls with curly hair, they have to take care of their hair.
Yeah.
So then, but it's a good thing to like learn from, because I know me growing up, my hair has always been really manageable and stuff. But then, so I don't really care about my hair. But then, like seeing Kathy, and just like hearing conversations about how, you know, how you really
Things we have
need
to go
like,
through.
hair products and stuff like that, and just taking time to like take care of your hair and stuff. And then I just wanted to try it, and like I like it. Like it's like
It feels like you're getting your life together.
yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, it just feels good.
How often do you practice self-care?
I don't know. It depends, because I don't know, man. I feel like this year, honestly, I haven't been, and it's not because I don't love myself. It's just because I let everything else. I don't sit down and really look at it until maybe the last couple of weeks that we've been talking about this. That I'm trying to like make it a priority. I think I've cared for myself in other ways, like the journaling thing, but I was kind of slack last month with the month before. I don't know, how often do you practice self-care?
Every day. No, I mean, I feel like, you know, if I can go to the beach every day, that's like my form of, because I go and like reflect. But I think because, you know, I'm so into my like writing to-do list for the day, and then it has like the categories of like mental, spiritual and stuff. So I just need to do something, like at least one thing
To help.
keep it up. But most days, like when I don't do it, then don't think about it. So I think it's like intentional, looking at your life, and instead of just going with the flow, but really just gotta do this, gotta do that, and be onto it.
Was there anything else you wanted to share on self-care?
I think I just remembered self-care should be like nourishing you, helping your future self, instead of like, I think it's like red flag if your self-care is just numbing the pain instead of like dealing with stuff stuff that needs to be dealt with.
We talked about this last time. Eh? Yes. So self-care.
It's a form of escape-ish, but escaping from yourself, and like, I think because we're a Christian, we get our strength in our, like, we block to God, like unblock from the world and block to God, so He strengthens us, empowers us, encourages us. But if we're escaping elsewhere and just numbing the pain, you'll come back and you're still the same, or
It's
like,
even worse.
even worse.
Yeah.
But form of self-care, I think, to check if your self-care is
Legit.
is you feel better, you feel more green, like healthy.
Yeah, like that. Like, I think like a determining factor if something that you're doing is self-care, because I know that a lot of us, if we find out about this, and then we will be like, oh yeah, every day is like, oh nah, I need to, like, I can't come to work this morning because I need to take care of myself. But then, like, to draw that line between it is like, is what you're doing now going to benefit yourself, or is it going to make your problem even worse?
Oh, and just the others as well,
Yeah.
like your team at work.
Because, like, you staying at home, would that, like, benefit them? I mean, or are you recharging so you can come back and be, like, really great? Or if it's just I don't know.
Lazy.
Yeah, I think just being real with it. And it's important that you take care of yourself, and just so you can do life well, instead of just surviving, you're actually living your life.
You're fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, instead of, not to live a mediocre life, like. But then it's amazing what a little act of self-care can do, because it recharges you, it replenishes you, it brings you back to life. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for listening. Thank you for
listening.
taking time out of your day to listen. We'll be back with another episode. Not next Wednesday, then next Wednesday.
In 2 weeks' time.
In 2 weeks' time. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.